Okay, let's get right into it. Miles below the waves, in the deepest, most unknown parts of our world, a new kind of race is heating up. And, one country, China, is pushing ahead faster and with more focus than anyone else to explore and maybe even control this final frontier.
So, what's really going on down there at the bottom of the Mariana Trench? We're talking about a place almost 7 miles straight down, where the discoveries being made could literally change the global power dynamic as we know it. To really wrap your head around what's at stake, you first have to understand the place itself. So let's take a quick journey, layer by layer, down into one of the most extreme environments on the entire planet. We start in the sunlit zone, the part we're all familiar with. But then we drop into the twilight zone, where the light fades and the pressure starts to get serious. After that, it's the midnight zone, pitch black except for the eerie glow of strange creatures. Deeper still is the abyss, a freezing, silent world nourished by what they call marine snow, just a constant drift of organic stuff from above. And finally, you reach the Hadel zone, the underworld. This is trench territory. Now, the pressure down here is, well, it's insane. It's more than 1,000 times what we feel up here on the surface. To put that in perspective, imagine the weight of 90 elephants all standing on your fingertip. That's the kind of crushing force we're talking about. And yet, somehow, life finds a way. For decades, just reaching this place was this monumental, once-in-a-generation achievement. But China's goal isn't just to visit. Their goal is to stay, and their strategy for doing it is a total game changer. I mean, think about it. The first people went down in 1960. It then took over 50 years for the next person, James Cameron, to do it. Then Victor Vescovo came along. These were incredible feats, for sure, but they were rare, incredibly expensive, one-off missions. It was like planting a flag on the moon and then leaving for decades. China is completely flipping the script. They are moving away from the model of a few giant manned submarines doing these heroic single dives. Instead, they're building something new. Huge fleets of autonomous robots designed to be down there all the time. Get this. They've created these small robots about the size of a shoebox that can crawl and glide and even work together. Now think about that. If one of those little guys can do what used to require a multi-million-dollar sub, what happens when you send down hundreds of them? Suddenly, rare exploration becomes constant surveillance. But this isn't just about pure scientific discovery. No, this new ability to be down there all the time potentially unlocks a massive treasure trove of resources. Resources that could literally power the world for the next 100 years. So what in the world could be valuable enough to justify this incredible effort? I mean, to go to one of the hardest to reach places on the planet? Well, it really boils down to two key things thereafter. First is this really weird stuff called methane hydrate, or fire ice. It's pretty much what it sounds like, natural gas that's trapped inside a cage of frozen water. It could be a huge energy source, but getting it out is super risky. It could trigger underwater landslides or release massive amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. And then you've got these. They look like lumpy potatoes just scattered across the seafloor. They're called polymetallic nodules, and they are packed with the metals we need for our modern world. The cobalt for batteries, the copper for wiring, all the key ingredients for electric cars and the green energy economy. But, and this is a huge but, the cost of mining them could be catastrophic. The mining machines would churn up these huge clouds of sediment that could drift for miles, burying fragile ecosystems that have been there for millions of years. Scientists are warning we could literally wipe out entire species before we even know they exist. But you know what? The most valuable thing down there isn't a mineral or some kind of weird ice. It's this, the undersea data cables. These are the nervous system of our planet. 99% of all global data, your emails, bank transfers, the very fact that you're watching this right now, travels through these thin, vulnerable cables on the ocean floor. And here's the thing. These cables are surprisingly fragile. A ship dropping anchor in the wrong spot can cut one by accident. But what if somebody wanted to cut one on purpose in a place so deep that nobody could see them do it? And this is where it gets really serious. China has developed a deep-sea robot that is quite literally a cable cutter. Now, the official story is that it's for repairs. But let's be real. A tool that can repair a cable can just as easily disable one, silently, thousands of feet beneath the surface. Just the fact that this technology exists changes the whole strategic game. So, what this all means is that the competition is no longer just about science or resources. The deep sea has officially become a new geopolitical frontier. And the world's two biggest powers, they're heading in completely opposite directions. And the data tells a pretty clear story. You can see it right here. While China is dramatically ramping up its investment in ocean R&D, funding for the main US agency in this space, NOAA, has actually been going down. One country is diving in headfirst, the other is kind of backing away. Basically, at the exact moment China is flooding its labs with money and attracting the best talent, the US is taking its foot off the gas. And that's creating this huge leadership vacuum in a domain that is becoming more critical every single day. And make no mistake, this is all part of a clear long-term plan. China is working to turn historic, one-off exploration into a routine, repeatable operation. They're planning permanent underwater research stations. They're gaining experience that nobody else has. They are positioning themselves to be the gatekeepers of the deep ocean. This really leaves the world at a crossroads. We can go down one path, a path of competition, a secretive, risky resource race that could lead to conflict and do irreversible damage to our planet. Or we could choose another path, collaboration. We could treat the deep sea like we treat outer space, with cooperative projects modeled on something like the International Space Station. And that brings us to the final, critical question. Is the last, vast, unexplored part of our own planet going to become a shared resource for all of humanity? Or is it about to become the world's next hidden battlefield? The race is on, and the choices being made right now are going to define our future for a very, very long time.